Hey guys, I'm doing the 3 pencil challenge instead of 3 marker challenge because I've only got 6 markers. That wouldn't be that interesting, but I've got a lot more pencils. And here I've picked out a light blue from the Derwent Studio set, Venetian Red and Chocolate from the Derwent Drawing set. Now, you don't get to see me sketching because the sketching was too light to actually see, so here's me doing some experiments, seeing how they work together. Now, apologies for any points where my head gets in the way. I was kind of sitting at an awkward angle to really do it. Now, I'm not too unhappy with this set of pencils, because while the blue is a bit odd, I do have 2 browns. Though the thing about chocolate is that it doesn't really play nicely with many of the other browns. It's very, very, very dark compared to the other browns in the set. As you see, I'm colouring the hair in blue, mostly because I want to use the browns for the skin tone, because the skin tone is going to be a lot more prominent, and so I really want to have more than one colour in that, because at least the way I was taught with pencils is you always want to use at least 3 colours to shade anything. That's what makes things look vibrant. Can't really do that here, so where I can use more than one colour, I will. Now, as you can see, you can kind of see the ear. I'm drawing an elf. Just thought it might be fun. I don't normally draw humanoids, so good to get some practice in. And this is actually one of the first times I've drawn wavy hair. I actually think it looks pretty good. It'll look better when I can show you the finished picture in better lighting. So I'm just basically just drawing in little darker lines at the moment. And in a second I'll start actually flicking with holding the pencil fairly firmly to draw sort of individual hairs that stand out. But yeah, right now, blue hair, because it's an elf, and elves can have blue hair. You can sort of see the eyes, which are blue, with, I used the chocolate for the pupils, which doesn't quite work, because chocolate's very, very dark, but it's not actually black, so that sometimes causes problems. And there was a bit of awkwardness trying to remember which direction the lighting comes from, because I often forget, and I'm lucky I caught myself this time before I accidentally started having the opposite sides having different lighting. Like I get into ruts with lighting, and so that sometimes means with things with 2 sides, like hair, I don't actually I shade them with the lighting coming different directions. And here you can actually see me doing adding little strands of hair with the pencil. It's a bit hard to see because of the lighting, but there it is. It doesn't quite work, I think, just because there's not enough different colours. Now here I am going around with the chocolate to outline different sections. Good thing about chocolate is it does make a fairly good outliner, except the drawing set of Derwent, while it's lovely and soft, it does smudge. I'm adding eyebrows, blue eyebrows. You might be wondering why I'm cutting off the neck. I'm actually giving her some chainmail later on. And there's my head in the way again. Sorry about that. Just adding the pupils there. And outlining. I like outlining in pencil because you can erase it and it just feels a whole lot less awkward than pen. And here I am, I'm just starting to block in the skin colour with the Venetian Red, which is not what I would have picked for a skin colour normally, but I think it actually works pretty well. I might have to start using it more. I generally use some of the other browns a bit more that are a bit more blue coloured, I guess. So a bit more of a blue undertone. And you might see I'm not entirely sure what's going on with eye sockets. I'm working on eye sockets. Again, sorry for the head being blocked. And there's a bit of awkwardness because I'm trying to colour in around the eyebrows without leaving a halo of white around them or colouring over them accidentally. Basically, I don't think the eyebrows quite work, especially because they're very pale compared to the skin tone, so you'd expect to see some of the skin tone through them, but if you saw some of the skin tone through them, it would have looked a bit odd. So, yeah, I did the best I could there. And I think I'm just working on the full head at that point. Either that or I'm working on the earring. No, I'm working on the full head. Earring's coming up soon. The earring didn't quite work because I didn't really have a metallic colour except the blue, and it would have got lost in the hair. So I used a combination of the Venetian Red and the blue, and it didn't quite look right. It was a bit of a funny coloured thing. It looked like she just had a really big unattached earlobe. And I'm just adding in some shadows with the chocolate there. Normally chocolate doesn't quite work for shadows, it's too dark, but I think in this case it actually went quite well with Venetian Red if you were very light with the chocolate. And there's the neck. I like doing necks, I'll admit. And I used the chocolate for the cast shadow from the chin. And I think now I'm starting to work on the earring. Yeah, you can see it getting outlined. It didn't quite work in my opinion. I think you shouldn't have too many things that need to be separate colours when you're doing a 3-colour challenge. I think that was my mistake, and I'm just fixing up the eyebrows there. And before then I was actually starting on the chainmail, which is, you can't really see because it's a bit too pale. It's very washed out in this light. But what I'm doing is I'm just doing little rows of C's and then doing another little row of C's the other way, and I was just marking out with my 4H pencil the lines. The reason I didn't show you the video of the sketch was because I was using a 4H pencil. You can't see 4H pencil unless you're really close to it, and the camera's a fair distance and the lighting wasn't spectacular. But I'm just doing more of the chainmail there. Again, I'm not sure the chainmail worked because it's quite pale and it's the same colour as the hair. Didn't really have a lot to shade with. Like, I'm glad I did get 2 colours that were sort of the same with the 2 browns, but the blue was just a bit awkward to work around. Like, I think the palette looks good, but it would have been nice to be able to have a few more blues to play around with. I guess that's the point of the 3-colour challenge. You don't really have a lot of colours to play around with, and a lot of colours have got to do double duty and you've got to work out how to work around. And I'm just, you know, darkening a few things with the chocolate there. I mean, I'm starting to learn to love the chocolate, and I had to stop there because the phone ran out of room. Just finishing up the chainmail and also shading it pretty loosely and lightly. I'm not being super fancy, and I don't want to cover up the detail of the chainmail by going too dark. So that's what's going on. And now what I'm doing is I'm just adding a background of the chocolate just to make the lighter hair and chainmail, which is sort of around the outside, pop more, because it looks a bit pale against the white. And so that's just to unify it. And there's Steve hopping along the cage there and hiding in my bookshelf, coming to say hi. But yeah, and I like having a darker background if I've got the areas around it being lighter. And I'm playing a bit fast and loose, so you'll probably see some darker sections that I tried to get rid of but didn't quite succeed. But I don't think it matters too much because people are going to be drawn more towards the face than the background. So yeah, just finishing up, trying to make sure not to go over the hair but cover everything. I tried to do little circles, but it's hard to do little circles to fill in with the side of the thing, and I'm just smudging with the tissue there. But little circles are good because they don't have so much directionalness, and so you don't end up with bits not lining up. You can see a dark line there just above her head, but I think that's okay. And here's the finished piece in better lighting. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video.